Saturday, August 6, 2016. Maneko 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the United States, July non-farm payrolls soared by 255,000 new jobs. The Wall Street pundits and economists expected a rise of 180,000. So it was a great number. Unemployment rate dropped. Well, it was expected to drop to 4.8, but it remained at 4.9%, which, by the way, is lower than the 6.5% that Ben Bernanke had said in 2012. He said that was the rate needed for him to start normalizing interest rates. And 4 years later, and at 4.9%, we're still at almost zero interest rates in the US in terms of the Fed funds. Well, and the other thing as well, the Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that average hourly earnings rose by 0.3%. It was expected 0.2. So there you go. The US labor market is doing great. So what happened to the markets? Of course, the Dow was up 191 points, closed at 18,543, or up 1%. NASDAQ made an all-time high, so did the S&P. So all's well with the United States economy. And I guess that's why the rest of the world is in such dire straits. That's why we have Bank of Australia, Reserve Bank of Australia, cut rates just a few days ago. Bank of England cut rates and announced more QE. Bank of Japan is disappointed, but they're still doing more their QE, and their rates are still at negative. What else? Yeah. So I thought that the U.S. economy was top dog, and it drove the world growth. So how come this great economic renaissance in the U.S. is not doing that? How come with unemployment rate at 4.9% and job growth of 220,000 every month, how come interest rates are still at almost zero, Mrs. Yellen? So I guess you detect a bit of sarcasm. But one thing's true, the BLS numbers are great. It's just the way that they calculate it makes it look great. They don't count the millions of people who've given up looking for a job, and they've discouraged workers. So they only count people that are claiming unemployment. So these numbers, that 4.9% number, that's more like 20%. Even Donald Trump said that the other day in his speech. So the thing is, even if the numbers had disappointed, the stock market probably would have dropped initially, and then it would have risen, because then people would have said, oh, the Fed's not going to hike anymore. But now, of course, the Fed's expected to hike rates in September, and people think it's a certainty for them to hike in December after the elections. So we'll have to see. I think they should do an emergency rate hike. If the U.S. economy and the job market and wages are growing so quickly, they should come out and raise rates right now to, snuff inflation in the bud. So in the old days, they used to do the opposite. The market crashed. They used to come in and do an emergency meeting and cut rates. It was a few years ago, I think Mr. Bernanke in an interview said, when he was chairman, that they've got inflation under control, and that, if things got out of hand, they could raise rates in 15 minutes. So why doesn't Mrs. Yellen do that right now? They should have an emergency meeting next week and raise rates to tell the world how well the U.S. economy is doing. I mean, even the St. Louis Fed now is they've come out and saying, U.S. GDP is going to be 3.8% in the third quarter. You look at Bloomberg and the stories, the best, it says U.S. companies have enough confidence to hire, if not invest. No end seen in global demand for U.S. credit. So yeah, that's the same Bloomberg that's owned by Michael Bloomberg, who's totally anti-Trump. So what am I trying to say in this video? I mean, I think the globalists, and in the US that means the establishment, the people in charge that have been in charge for the last, probably 50 years since the Kennedy assassination, and they've held their grip to power. Their power has increased a lot in the last 30 years, with the era of financialization of the economy. These people are running scared. They're even faking polls now. There's a story here on thegatewaypundit.com that pollsters are tweaking the polls to make it look like Hillary is leading Trump. And they're even coming out with stories saying that Trump is going to, pack it in and not run. So here, I'm reading here from a story. Democrats are in panic, so leave it to the media to jump in and help their candidate. Reuters tweaked their polling methods this week to give Hillary a lead. Reuters Ipsos used more than 100 Democrats in their poll to give Hillary a lead over Donald Trump. Does anyone in their right mind think Democrats will have more people voting this year than Republicans? Well, Donald Trump had more people vote for him in the primaries, Republicans, than any other candidate in history. So it goes on to say it's a tweet from Donald Trump, and I quote, RT, New Reuters, Ipsos slanted poll fixed for Hillary. Oversampled Democrats 899 to GOP 753 and 266 to independents. Rigged, wrong. That's Donald Trump. And he goes on, and then there's a tweet from Real Deal. It says, even with all the phony polls, at Trump has the momentum while Clinton slides. So it seems to me that probably the August non-farm payroll, which is coming out in the beginning of September, and the September non-farm payroll, which is coming out in the beginning of October, they're going to be great numbers. They might put in one that disappoints a little bit, not to look for it to look so obvious. But yeah, of course, gold and silver were smashed yesterday. But I think all in all, gold's still, above 1,300. So it's up more than 30% since the end of December. So I'm not concerned about that. The mining shares also were hit, but there's still, people are still making a lot of money in that. If anything, these are just corrections in my opinion. The world is a funny place at the moment. I think the establishment is desperate. They're gonna make the economy look as good as possible until the election. We'll have to see if it holds. You have the St. Louis Fed, which they're probably also, they come out and say they're independent, but I don't think they want a Trump president. So they come out and say that the GDP is going to be 3.8% for the third quarter. So yeah, great numbers, but do you really believe it? Do the real people out there, the common people in the US and the rest of the world, believe things are so great? I don't think they do. And that's why people need to listen more to the alternative media on the internet. I mean, I don't turn on mainstream media television anymore. I don't listen to that. Well, sometimes I look at clips on the internet just of alternative media exposing them for their lies. But yeah, I don't want to be programmed by them. And that's it. So if you enjoy my video, please like, share, and subscribe. You can donate to my channel. There's a link below to patreon.com. You can donate as little as $1 a month, or you can donate Bitcoin as well. I'll put the Bitcoin address below. Take care. Bye.